correct?
Correct.
So it could be a weather
Hey, my
satellite,
friends,
a
Jared Dukes
communication
here. We
satellite,
are
or
going
something,
live
not
to
a
the
spy
Pentagon
satellite.
where they are
All we
making
know is that was
comments
a
on a
space
U.S.
launch vehicle,
airstrike
but I
today
don't have
in
more details than
Iraq.
that.
So we're going to listen in live right now.
Switching to Israel again.
Sure.
How much equipment has the U.S. tapped from its war reserve located in Israel for IDF use? Or the types of, can you give a sense of?
Sure. Well, as you know, the types of equipment that we continue to provide Israel range from 1.5 millimeter rounds, precision guided munitions, and air defense systems. Not going to get into more specifics on that. I know I've seen some of the reporting out there, but I'm just not going to get into more specifics right now. In terms of what we are supplying or how we are, I think that's what you're asking, how we are supplying Israel. We have been able to supply Israel from our stockpiles within Israel, and we have other stockpiles, of course, available to us that we are flowing aid and continue to flow aid to Israel.
I have a civilian casualty question too. The Pentagon within the policy shop has the Civilian Harm and Mitigation Response Group.
Yeah.
That Congress mandated you guys set up a couple years ago. Assistant Secretary Carlin last week said that some of the people in her group are monitoring the events in Gaza. Can you give a little bit more clarity in terms of what they're monitoring? And are they gathering reports from human rights groups, or what exactly are they monitoring?
I don't have more specifics on what they are monitoring. What they continue to, or the information that they continue to receive, is information that's both going to be publicly available, and then, of course, anything that comes in through other channels. But I don't have more specific details on that. It's something that, as you mentioned, this civilian harm mitigation and response entity continues to look at, and their review does inform senior leaders here in the building.
It's fair to say, accurate to say that the Pentagon is actively monitoring reports of civilian casualties in Gaza?
I would say it's accurate for CHIMR, the Civilian Harm Mitigation and Response Office, to be doing that. Yeah, of course. Liz, yeah.
Thanks. On the unannounced retaliatory strikes, have any of those killed any militants?
I think I read this out in the topper, but I did say that we believe there are some fatalities. You mean the strikes that we have taken proactively, like that we had announced from the second or the?
Like the unannounced.
Sure.
ones.
For the unannounced one, I don't have anything more for you on other casualties.
Okay. And then to follow up separate topic. Last week, Senator Lindsey Graham suggested that the U.S. should target Iran directly instead of these Iranian-affiliated groups in Iraq and Syria. Why is the Pentagon not doing that? Any reaction?
Well, we feel that, one, we are extremely mindful of this conflict broadening out into a regional conflict. That's what we do not want to see. We do not want to be pulled into a regional conflict, both from attacks on our troops and also from what is happening in Israel. We feel very confident that the targets that we have selected, one, we know that Iran supports, backs, arms, equips, financially supports these groups and these IRGC locations and their affiliates. So we are hitting them where it hurts. We are hitting weapons storage facilities and completely destroying them, so they're no longer of use. But we do want to see this conflict contained. Of course, we will always choose to respond at a time and place of our choosing. But again, we feel very confident in the responses that we have, or the targets we have selected in Syria. Joseph, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Kirby earlier said that Russia's Wagner group may provide air defense capabilities to Hezbollah or Iran. Does the Pentagon share that assessment? Can you elaborate or give any more updates or clarity on that?
I don't have anything to dispute that. We certainly share that assessment. We haven't seen that happen, but we know that, look, since the beginning of the war in Ukraine, it's clearly what is happening in Ukraine is not, falling in Russia's favor. And so we've seen Russia continue to seek out support from other countries such as the DPRK and Iran. We know Iran is supplying them with drones that you're seeing hit in Ukrainian cities, civilian infrastructure. And so we are closely aware of the deepening relationship with Russia and Iran, and that's something that, of course, concerns us. I don't have anything to confirm of any type of transfer of this capability, but it's something that we continue to monitor.
Follow up on last week when you guys downgraded intel on the Shifa hospital.
Yeah.
Is there any more intel that you guys can elaborate or provide to the public on that hospital or other hospitals in Gaza that Hamas was allegedly using as commanding control centers?
Yeah, I don't have anything more to provide today. Sure.
Quickly, today, 2 journalists were killed in Lebanon. I think marks 3 or 4 that have been killed by the Lebanese army said it was an Israeli strike. Any comment or response?
I've seen that reporting, and I know you've asked me about this before, and of course that is awful. We certainly don't condone the targeting of journalists who are covering this war, who are doing their job by reporting. I don't have more information in regards to what the strike I think that you're referencing, but I have seen those reports, and again, just blanket condemnation of any journalists that are doing their jobs on the front lines, reporting on what is happening on the ground in Israel, in Ukraine, wherever it might be. Of course, we don't want to see journalists being targeted like that. Yeah, Fadi.
Thank you, Sabrina. I have 2 separate questions.
Sure.
On the Shimmer work that you said, like the reports they're collecting, how much is this work informing the Secretary and the Department in terms of support to Israel?
It's something that informs senior leadership conversations here, or senior leaders' conversations here, I should say. Again, I'm not going to get into more details on that, but that is something that this department is focused on. And as they assess more material, that gets flowed up through our system here.
That, like, at a certain point, will you be able to share the findings, or?
There's not, I wouldn't say this is like a formal report or formal investigation or task force that's being put into place. This is what this office does, or one of the many functions of this office. And, we're grateful to have it, and it does inform our thinking as, of course, we engage with the Israelis and frankly, all of our partners and allies in any type of situation. So that this office adds incredible value, not just for the U.S., but other circumstances around the world.
And finally,
Sure.
Before the land invasion of the northern parts of Gaza, there's been lots of discussions between this department and the Israeli forces about civilian harm mitigation, how to sharing experiences from other wars. Now it seems Israel is signaling it wants to move its operation, land invasion, to the southern parts of Gaza. Mm-hmm. And you do know that hundreds of thousands have been displaced to that area, which is very crowded under severe civilian humanitarian crisis, according to international organizations. Is the DoD currently active in conversations with the Israelis about this potential operation? And do you think escalating the land or incursion will have major risks on Palestinian civilians in the southern parts of Gaza?
Well, we know, as you mentioned, the south is where civilians were told to go to flee and move, I should say, relocate from the north. So, of course, it's something that we are in conversations about with the Israelis. It is their operation, and it is something that they will have to speak to. But absolutely, we are having conversations with them. The secretary, I believe, just had another call or is going to have another call with Minister Gallant today. And it's of course something that in all of our conversations, whenever we talk to our Israeli counterparts, abiding by the law of armed conflict, protecting those upholding those humanitarian laws is extremely important. And that's something that you continue to see reiterated in our readouts as well that we post online. Great. I'm just going to go to the phones real quickly here before I forget. Haley, CNN, I believe you were on the phone.
Yeah, hi, thank you. I'm wondering just a couple of follow-ups on the attack last night. Is this the first time that we have seen a ballistic missile used in this way? And then is this also the first time, I know you're saying that we've had these kind of responses previously, when we know the point of origin, is this the first time that we know that hostile forces have been killed, or has that happened in the past?
Thanks, Haley. So in terms of your first question, was this the first time that a close-range ballistic missile was used? Yes, this is the first time since October 17th, when these attacks started on U.S. forces. This is the first time that this type of munition was used against U.S. forces. And then on your second questions, in terms of casualties, I believe this is the first time that we are assessing that there were some casualties. But I just don't have more information on any other additional retaliatory strikes we've taken in the past. Okay, great. I'm going to go to Jeff Schogel, Task and Purpose.
Thank you. Can the DoD provide any more information about what exactly is this close-range ballistic missile? Also, can DoD say why the AC-130 had its transponder on while conducting the strike, allowing flight trackers to follow it in real time?
Thanks, Jeff, for your question. I'm sorry, this is going to be very unsatisfactory, but I cannot provide any further details on either of your questions. And last one from the phone, Heather, USNI.
Hi, thanks so much. Two questions. So first, we heard that the secretary extended the Ford's deployment. I wanted to see if you had any extra details on that. And second, last week, you referred to the Gaza Health Ministry with some skepticism when talking about the numbers. And I was just wondering if the DoD is treating the Israeli intelligence with the same skepticism it's treating information that comes out of Gaza.
Thanks, Heather, for your question. In terms of the Ford deployment, she remains on station. I have no announcements to make on her movement. When the secretary feels that the Ford is ready to rotate out, we will certainly let you know. But at this moment, she remains on station in the Eastern Med. In terms of your second question, I think it is important to remember that the health ministry in Gaza is in fact run by Hamas. So we cannot independently verify the casualty numbers from a U.S. source at this time. Again, with anything when it comes to intelligence, of course, the United States always seeks to verify information on our own and through our own sources and methods. But we do see the public reporting out there. Again, it's just to caution as people report on these numbers that this is the Hamas-run health ministry, and so we cannot independently verify these numbers. Great. Yeah, Janie.
Thank you, Sabrina. On North Korea's satellite, did the Pentagon aware of Russia helped to transport satellite technology to North Korea?
I'm not aware of any reports of Russia transferring. I'm not aware of any of those reports.
Because if they transport to North Korea, it will be a successful launch, right?
Again, I'm not aware of anything to do with this launch and Russia. All I can tell you is we are aware of the space launch vehicle that North Korea launched, I believe is today on the 21st. But I don't have more information on, and frankly don't have any details or would be able to give you any details on how Russia would be involved in that. Okay.
And the South Korean defense minister said that if North Korea would launch the satellite again, it would suspend the 919 North Korea.
All right, looks like they are about to wrap it up there.
And
that last lady's kind of hard to understand anyways. So, interesting developments from the Pentagon. That was a live feed directly from the Pentagon. And we basically understand that there's been, 66 attacks on bases belonging to the United States. I can assure you this, if Donald Trump was in office right now, they would not be doing that type of nonsense. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the future here. I'll keep you posted as always. Thanks for joining me today. As I always say, keep that free mind. Never give up, my friends. I am J.R. Dukes.